My name's Andrew McKinnon, and I've been involved in jousting for about 15 or 16 years now. I've been really lucky with jousting. Since I've started, I've managed to get overseas. I've been to the United Kingdom, Europe. I've jousted in Moscow, in the middle of Moscow, in fact, in a park called Kolomonskoye in front of 275,000 people over 6 days. So you can imagine it's quite a contrast when I go to work and, working on a computer one day, and then in a couple of days I'm in the middle of a field somewhere overseas, dressed up in armour on a horse with a big stick, trying to break it against one of my friends. I've once heard jousting described as two guys in armour standing at the end of the jousting list throwing money at each other, which is not not an inaccurate version of it. To describe jousting, it's a medieval pastime that was used to train for war. You've got two people in armour on horses, about 40 metres apart from each other. Normally there's a divider, which is called the tilt, so that the horses won't collide, which is again is a safety consideration. That is, perfectly historical. They get handed a lance. It's about 3 metres long, depending on the style of jousting you're doing. And then they have one of these shields strapped here. As you ride towards them, you're on the right-hand side of the divider. You have your lance and your horse is at a canter. And as you meet in the middle, you lower your lance so it strikes the opponent's shield. And the idea is, in the jousting that we do, is to break the lance and generally score points. And whoever scores the most points wins. We've tried to develop as close an approximation to what was happening in our chosen time period, which is the 15th century, as we can. And that comes down to details like the style of jousting, lances, armour, the field setting, the soft kit that the people who work on the field, the squires, valets, wear, all that sort of stuff. To the point where I think, we could say, not with every tournament, but with a lot of the real high-end tournaments where there's a lot of care factor there, that, hand on heart, if you parachuted someone in from the 15th century, they would know exactly what was going on and feel like they understood what was happening. So this shield here, because my name is McKinnon, the protocol is that you need to feature the chief's arms, this means McKinnon. So it's the boar's head with a shanks bone in its mouth, which is part of a famous story about an old McKinnon chief who got bailed up in a cave and saved himself by shoving a deer's shank bone in its mouth to stop it from biting him. This is the red, like a red ship, because obviously being an island from Skye, there's a seafaring aspect. And then you've got, there's a religious connection, because McKinnons are supposed to be hereditary abbots of the Isle of Iona. And I'm going to have to do research on that, because I'm not sure what the three castles are for. Something medieval. Anyway, so that's the McKinnon arms. And then I've had my arms added to the top. Now, unfortunately, as you can see, because you've got pretty much a square set here, I couldn't fit my wolf rampant. So I've made him what's called a wolf courant, which means a wolf running. So it fits across the top, which is, part of the rule set for Highland heraldry. My feeling is that jousting may remain a niche sport just because it's, as a sport, you can imagine it's really hard to translate to people that go and watch the footy to come and see the jousting. Honestly, if you went and watched a suburban game of footy, they can be fantastic and people understand it and the competition's good. But you go and watch some jousting, and people are kind of like, you see the jaws drop. And people go, that's amazing. Why aren't you guys famous? And we're like, I know, right? So we're working on it. To be a decent listening horse,
Nathan, could you go out of shot? Aaron.
There you go. It's him being a clown.